So I'm going to talk a little bit about the two worlds, the two possible worlds we live in, because, well, I do a lot of research on the two sides of the brain. And in that same sense that there are two sides of the brain, there are two possible worlds that we choose to live in at every moment. And so there's this left brain world that's filled with regret. It's never in the present moment. It's either living in some past or some possible future that it dreads. It's purposely wired to be negative. It focuses on in-group, out-groups, and creates a sense of self, which has so much baggage that ultimately it causes suffering. And I've talked a lot about this. The right brain world is completely different because it's always in the present moment. It's grateful. It's not filled with thought about reality. It's actually in reality. And there's a sense where everything's completely fine, exactly as it is. Now, the point I want to make with this video is that every moment we're choosing which world we live in. And this is really similar to what was made popular by the movie The Matrix, where we can choose the red pill or we can choose the blue pill. Choose the blue pill, you stay in mind, you're identified with your thoughts, and you continue to suffer. Choose the red pill, and suddenly you have this sensation that you're not your thoughts, that maybe uh, the world or even reality itself is not what you thought it was, that there's some meaning beyond the thinking, problem solving mind. Now, if someone told me this in my 20s, I probably would have gotten really angry because when you're suffering from neurosis and anxiety, the notion that you're choosing the world you live in can be very upsetting to people because it really doesn't feel like you're choosing to live in that world. But I want you to think about it like this. So imagine you lay on the couch and you don't work out and all you do is eat junk food and you just watch TV 10 hours a day, and then someone comes along and says, well, why don't you run a marathon? And there's just no way you're going to be able to do it. And that's the problem with all this, is the time variable. You're not going to be able to choose your thoughts because in our culture, we almost never focus on cultivating the attentional ability to actually choose anything insofar as attention is concerned. In fact, when the neuroscientist and the Buddhist got together in the 90s, the neuroscientists were pretty convinced that we could sustain attention for a very short time, maybe 30 seconds at best. And one of the Buddhist monks mentioned that he could sustain uh, focused attention on an object for 4 hours without any difficulty. So that's what we're finding here is we have very little practice in this. And so that's where the meditation comes in. And that's where your choice comes in. And so you may say, well, I'm going to choose the red pill. Maybe it doesn't last very long. Maybe it just is short-lived, and then rumination comes back. And that's all right, because that's just like getting up and walking around the block. And so when you train for a marathon, you maybe just start off by walking around the block once, and then you walk around twice, and then you have a slow jog. And so you choose the red pill. You say, today I'm not going to focus on my thoughts. Today I'm going to be in the moment. And maybe you get it lasting for a short time. That time's going to get a little longer, a little longer. And you realize one day when you take the red pill that something actually sticks from it. And so in this choice, again, you say, well, maybe you're not sure what you want. Like so many of us, I think we're kind of flirting with the idea of enlightenment. We're flirting with the idea of the red pill. And we're not really sure because we're so honestly addicted to our suffering. We're making the choice all the time. We just choose the blue pill over the red. But as far as this left brain time, illusion of time is concerned, we are coming upon 2020, and sometimes with these time, even if they're illusory, these time markers can kind of set a frame for us to make different decisions. And so I just thought I'd put this together, and maybe some of you can choose the red pill coming up. And even if it doesn't stick, you can keep working on it, and then you might see that, one day you're actually running that marathon.